Speaking of principled patriots, Lin Wood does not like injustice, and he's willing to spend time to root out those who promote it. And he's one of the great lawyers in this country. Lin Wood, how are you, my friend?
Mark, I'm doing well. How are you?
Well, you know, we've all been better here watching this tyranny spread. Lin Wood, you brought a lawsuit in Georgia, and rather than have the media, filled frankly with a bunch of numbskulls, just put it down, I would like you to explain what you're doing in Georgia, because I think it's crucially important.
Thank you, Mark. I filed a lawsuit on my behalf as a elector, which means I voted in Georgia in person. My lawsuit is based on a consent agreement reached in March of 2020 by the Secretary of State with the Democratic Party in a lawsuit represented by Perkins Coie, also known as the Hillary Clinton firm, where they changed by consent agreement the rules relating to absentee ballots for the November general election. You can't do that. Any change in the rules with respect to a federal election and a state election has to be made as a matter of law by the legislature in Georgia. The legislature didn't do it. The election in Georgia on November the 3rd was unlawful. It also violated equal protection because there were less stringent confirmation rules for paper ballots versus the individuals like me who voted in person. It also violated due process. So we filed the lawsuit last week. We amended it yesterday to add the due process claim because the due process claim goes to the sham recount that's underway in Georgia right now. Later this evening, I'm going to be filing a motion for a temporary restraining order asking for an emergency hearing to stop this recount, not to certify the vote, because they are doing nothing more, Mark, than recounting the illegal votes. They're not doing one thing to determine valid versus invalid. The Secretary of State goes on TV and says that he is. The Secretary of State of Georgia is a liar. I don't make those types of accusations lightly. But I will tell you that our Secretary of State and our Governor, Brian Kemp, are dirty. They're corrupted by Chinese money. I know it based on evidence I've seen. Georgia's got a clean house. We've got to change our government, but first we've got to have a special session of the Georgia legislature called so that they can elect the electors to vote for Donald Trump, who, by the way, won a landslide victory in Georgia, as he did across the nation. Then they're going to have a new election on all the down ballots in January because the whole process was infected by the illegal absentee ballot procedure, and it was also infected with I'll call it a computer virus. The computer voting system in Georgia, Dominion, contains software that was manipulated where they control the voting, which in a network of corporations around the globe. This election was a fraud. Donald Trump won, I believe, clearly a 70% plus landslide election in the nation. He probably won over 400 electoral votes. So we're uncovering step by step the layers on the onion, and we're going to get to the truth. And the truth is Donald Trump has been reelected by this country to serve as president for 4 more years. The truth will come out.
You know, Lin Wood, there was a time when PBS, back in October 26th, not that long ago, a few weeks ago, the New York Times, NBC, they all did stories on this Dominion voter system, how it could be easily hacked. They did a story in September, how they slapped on some kind of change to it quickly. A lot of it was focused in Georgia. This Secretary of State, you make such an important point here. He doesn't have the power to cut a deal with the Democrats to change state election law. A judge doesn't have the power. A Secretary of State doesn't have the power. The governor doesn't have the power. Nobody has the power. Yet he does it in a consent decree with the Democrat Party. That is an abomination.
He did it in the dark of night. I talked to many legislators in Georgia. They didn't know it was even done. I'll tell you, Mark, when you look at what's happened in Georgia, and then you start connecting the dots around the nation, and you look at this Dominion computer system, voting system, the citizens of the state of Georgia cast their votes, and then their votes went around the globe where they were manipulated by software. This was not the first time that it was done. They did it, I've heard clearly, in 2012. Biden and Obama did it in Florida. Hillary Clinton used it in 2016, but her algorithm came up short. Donald Trump won by so many votes. They used it in 2018 in the midterm elections to win the House. This year, they added in the safeguard where if the computer algorithm, which can shift the votes 3%, did not provide enough votes, they've started bringing in the special ballots, the mail-in ballots. Donald Trump won by such a large margin that in the middle of the night they had to stop counting, and you'll see in key states they started bringing in ballots by the truckload. All of them for Biden, many of them in these mail-in ballots with little bubbles for you to circle the person you selected, all of them for Biden with perfect circles. I believe upon examination you're going to find those perfect circles were made by a computer. This election was stolen, but they got caught.
You know, Lynn Wood, people need to know that this company, it's a Canadian company, but it's really, you're right, it's many nations involved. It originally had ties.
It actually started.
I was just going to say, go ahead.
It started in Venezuela. Yeah,
yep.
I'm sorry. It actually started in Venezuela. Chavez used it to win elections. Mm-hmm. They used the mechanism to sell to individuals or entities elections in other countries, Argentina, China. The ownership changed to Canada at some point, but the key is that this particular software is not only in Dominion voting systems, it infected and was used in many different voting systems. Check on the name SGO Smartmatic. Then they take that software to manipulate the votes in servers, Amazon servers in Barcelona and Frankfurt, owned by a company called Cytel. Mm-hmm. Then they manipulate the votes and report it out real time through a company called Clarity. And that's why people observed that this time they could see the votes actually being switched, where the Republican votes would go down, say, 1,000, and the Democratic vote would go up 1,000. This was a fraud, and they got caught. The American public is not stupid.
Your answer to people like Karl Rove, who was on TV last night, and he said the vote numbers in these major cities and these major battleground areas really were similar to what they were with Hillary Clinton. And your answer is, well, they were less this time around. They shouldn't have been similar to what Hillary Clinton got. Isn't that your point?
That's one of many points. Listen, yeah. I have to tell you that what I've learned over the past 2 weeks, I wouldn't trust a lot of Democrats, but I wouldn't trust a lot of Republicans. You look at the Republicans that are not fighting for the American people to have their vote counted and to have the president that they voted for elected, and I'm very suspicious of them. I've seen them on TV, and the ones that are sitting around saying this was done right, they're going to all be called out in due time because they are trying to defeat President Trump even within his own party.
Mm-hmm. Now, you're in federal court, I take it, or no?
I'm in federal court in Atlanta, Georgia, in the Northern District. Mm-hmm. Whatever the trial court rules will be subject to an appeal to the 11th Circuit. We got a good set of judges on the 11th Circuit. And then, obviously, it's subject to being appealed to the United States Supreme Court. But the law is clear. It's the same law that Justice Alito relied on in his earlier order in Pennsylvania. It's the same law that was relied on a couple of days ago when a state court judge ruled that the governor of California could not change the rules in California. It had to be done by the legislature.
Isn't it amazing, these forces that actually pose representative government? You know, on the one hand, the left wants to get rid of the Electoral College. They talk about, the national popular vote. The Washington Post had an editorial on that. And then they want judges, and as long as they agree with the result, and secretaries of state and governors to usurp the legislative power that's in Article 2 of the Constitution. They just believe in the ends justify the means, don't they?
Let me be straightforward and let's call it what it is. They want to overthrow the Constitution of our country. This is nothing more than a revolution, attempt to overthrow our government, a coup, in the disguise of an election. Turned out to be a fraudulent election by design. I think there are entities behind this that are globalist, like George Soros. I think there's an element of the military-industrial complex, but I'll tell you, the driving force, Mark, it's communist China. They have infiltrated our government at state, local, and national levels. Some people card-carrying communists. A number of people have been corrupted by Chinese money, and even subjected, I believe, to extortion. The American people need to wake up, and I think they are. We, the people, are not going to let somebody come in here and take over our government and take away our freedoms. The American public will fight back, and we will win. Just takes time.
Now, the Democrat Party, I mean, we got this big race in Georgia, 2 of them, and I guess this is one of the reasons you're also bringing this case and very concerned that we get this system fixed ASAP. The Democrat Party has openly said they want to destroy the Constitution. They want to destroy the judiciary and the Supreme Court. They want to destroy the Senate and pack it. They want to destroy the filibuster rule. They even want to destroy the Electoral College. So many Republicans in rural areas or less populated states lose the franchise effectively. They're not represented. The Washington Post, again, as I say, 2 days ago, was pushing this. These people really aren't kidding. So when people hear you, Lin Wood, talking about what you feel is taking place here, they really need to pay attention. Anyway,
they need to pay attention because I'm right. Mm-hmm. We have in this country right now a large group of people who have tried to influence the masses. The propaganda tool has been the mainstream media and the social media. I call them the socialistic media. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not even that partisan. I've voted for Democrats for president and Republicans for president. But you're right about what you said about me in the beginning of your show, Mark. I do not like injustice. I love truth. And truth is going to prevail in this country. This country was founded under God. It was meant to be free. Our Constitution was based on the laws of God in the Bible. And it's not a matter of trying to preach to people. It's a matter of trying to tell people to wake up, realize what this country was founded for and the principles that we stand for, and be principled people, not preferential people who go with whatever you prefer. Go with principles. The fundamental principle that I apply in my practice of law is I apply the principle of truth. The good, the bad, and the ugly. But the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. America is going to learn the truth soon that Donald Trump won an overwhelming landslide, probably historic victory. That's what everybody in the country felt. That's what the voters have felt. That's why you got 96-mile caravans in Arizona. That's why you've had millions go to rallies. The people in this country are not going to be denied their right to vote, and they're never going to be denied their freedom.
Lin Wood, we really appreciate what you're doing here. We'll keep close track of it, and just know there are millions of us who want you to succeed. And God bless you, my friend.
God bless you, Mark. Thank you very much.
All right, and we'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Hillsdale College serves 4 purposes: learning, character,